Hello, I'm Daniel. I want to give a talk today on the 37 practices of a bodhisattva. And this text is like 37 tips for how we can unleash our full potential, how we can live in a more mindful, compassionate, wise way. And so I've been going through these one at a time, and the one I'm going to talk about today is called Bringing Disgrace Onto the Path. Bringing disgrace onto the path. And I'm going to talk about this verse. I'm going to recite this verse, and then I'm going to talk about it, and then I'm going to tell a story. So now I'm going to recite the verse. It's bringing disgrace onto the path. Even if someone proclaims all kinds of defamation about me throughout the 3,000-fold universe, it is the practice of bodhisattvas to praise that person's qualities repeatedly with a loving attitude. Even if someone proclaims all kinds of defamation about me throughout the 3,000-fold universe, it is the practice of bodhisattvas to praise that person's qualities repeatedly with a loving attitude. So, what are we talking about here? We're talking about what do you do when someone gossips about you, when someone really slanders you. And I think that's really something we can think about. And I'm going to put aside that 3,000-fold universe. That's like it's essentially if someone is spreading a rumor about you and they're telling everyone, right? So, what do we do when someone gossips about us? I think sometimes in life, someone says a lie about you and denying it doesn't help, or denying it even can make the lie more believable somehow. I don't know how that works, but I think that is a thing. And so that could be really hard to wrestle with. Can we forgive people who spread rumors about us? Can we even, I've heard the phrase, accept an apology that you've never received. You know what I mean? That's when you just, even though somebody did something and they don't feel bad about it and they haven't apologized to you, you can still let go of your obsession with what they did. And that's really hard to do. So this is kind of the third in a series, because yesterday I talked about if someone kills you, tries to kill you, and the day before I talked about if someone tries to steal from you, and today we're talking about if someone spreads rumors about you. So what are we going through? It kind of seems like we're going through Buddhist ethics, really, because when we talked about Buddhist ethics before, the precepts involve not stealing, not killing, not lying, and so now we're talking about, what about when people do these things to you? So, what about when people do these things to us? I had a personal situation where somebody went out of their way to try to try to hurt my reputation, and I struggled with it a lot at the time, but now I don't think about it much anymore, and I think that's the way to be. I think I could think about that all the time. That had consequences, but I don't think about it really anymore. I've moved on, and I think moving on is healthy and good. So here's a story. This is a Zen story, and it takes place in the 16th century in Japan, okay? And I've told this story before. It's a story I love, okay? This is the story of Hakuin. Hakuin and the baby. That's what it's called, Hakuin and the baby. So Hakuin was a Zen teacher, and he was a hermit. He lived just in a hut, but he was near a village. Like, he wasn't in the middle of nowhere. He was near a village, but he lived alone in like a cheap hut. And he had a great reputation. People knew him as very wise, and he was quite beloved, okay? And anyone that wanted to learn how to meditate came to him. Anyone that wanted to explore Zen teachings came to him. But also people with just like really tough problems would come to him and ask him for advice. He was really well known for being wise, okay? So, you don't know what to do in your career, you go to Hakuin and ask him. You don't know what to do in your relationships, you go to Hakuin and ask him. He's really just the guy that knows everything. And not unlike, I think, people go to spiritual leaders with kind of difficult questions today. I think it's sort of like that, but like times 10. Like, he is the most well-known guy in the land, and really respected by regular people and by monks, everybody, okay? And he is a Zen monk. So what's that mean? It means he is not out there doing a job, right? He's just accepting people bring him donations because he's so helpful to them, and that's what he lives off of. And he lives in a cheap hut. He's not accumulating wealth, and he's living kind of an austere life. He's celibate. He is not giving in to pleasures that we might give into. But anyway, he's near a village, a fishing village, and it happens that one day, this young girl in the village, she became pregnant. And her family's poor. A lot of the families in the village are poor. And she didn't want to tell her parents who the father was. So she falls pregnant. It's a weird expression, right? She falls pregnant, and the parents ask her, who's the father? And she doesn't want to reveal that, so she lies. She says, the monk Hakuin is the father. The monk Hakuin is the father. So the parents, they are so mad. And they tell everyone, like, Hakuin assaulted our daughter. And this is a young girl, too young for it to... young enough that we would think, oh, that's gross and creepy, right? The story doesn't say how young she is, but too young is the point. Too young for Hakuin, who's much older. But so they go around and they tell everybody, like, Hakuin is a creepy old man. Hakuin is not a real monk. He assaulted our daughter. He is a horrible person. And they go around and they tell everyone that. And so Hakuin, people slowly stop coming to him for advice, slowly stop coming to him for teachings. And meanwhile, that girl, she goes through pregnancy and she has the baby. And the baby's grandparents, the girl's parents, they're like, we can't afford this baby. So they take the baby and they take it up to Hakuin's hut and they give it to him and they say, this is your baby. This is your responsibility. You have to take care of it. How dare you assault our daughter? This is your baby. You deal with it. It's yours. And Hakuin says, is that so? And he just accepts the baby. And the parents leave. The grandparents, they leave. So Hakuin now has this baby to take care of. And he makes cloth diapers himself. And he borrows milk from a neighbor. And he takes care of this baby. He just starts raising it. And a year goes by. And Hakuin's not getting a lot of visitors anymore. I don't know how he's sustaining himself, but he's managing. But the baby is really well cared for that year. And then, at some point, the young girl, I think she feels very bad. She confesses to her parents. Hakuin is not the father. It is this fisherman boy, neighbor over there. I just didn't want to tell you. And the parents, they feel so bad. Not only have they ruined Hakuin's reputation for a lie, for no reason, but also they have saddled him with this responsibility of taking care of their grandchild, and they feel so bad. And they go to Hakuin's hut, and they're just like, I am so sorry. We were lied to by our daughter. This is not your baby, and we are so sorry for saddling you with the baby. And we're going to tell everyone that you are an honorable monk, and I am so sorry that we ruined everything for you. We are going to apologize. We are going to tell everyone that we were wrong, and I hope things turn around for you. We're going to take the baby so you don't have to worry about taking care of it anymore. So, and Hakuin, he says, again, is that so? And the grandparents take the baby and they leave. And Hakuin's reputation was able to be repaired, and he is one of the most important figures especially in Japanese Zen history. He's one of the most important figures. He's really, really respected and loved. And so what does that story teach us? It's the way it's told is He had what we call equanimity, and equanimity is that state of mind where you're not torn down by the vagaries of life, where things happen and you just let them happen, and you're not getting upset, you're just letting things happen, just moving through life and just accepting whatever's going on. It is said that Hakuin had that very strongly. And so the way the story's told is he was unmoved when they suddenly gave him a baby, and he was unmoved when they suddenly took the baby away. And that's not my interpretation. I tend to think that Hakuin had bonded with that baby. He raised it for a year, right? So I tend to think that he really bonded with that baby, and that when it was taken, he was sad. But that being said, he really was good at managing his emotions, so he didn't fall apart, and he didn't say, no, let me keep the baby or anything. He was strong, and he had equanimity, so he did not freak out, as most of us would, right? So Hakuin has kind of a legendary level of acceptance. So they bring this lie and they saddle him with a baby and ruin his reputation, and he doesn't fall apart as many of us would, right? Is that so? Is his answer. He's able to handle it with a calm and cool reaction. Now, I think many of us grandparents show up with a baby and they say, how dare you impregnate our daughter? You have to take care of this baby. I think most of us would say, what? I didn't do anything. Fuck you, right? But he knew, I think, that wasn't going to work, right? A lot of the time when we deny something, we don't sound believable. And that's an unfortunate thing about human communication, I guess. But Hakuin, he could have said, that's not my baby. He could have gotten very angry. Wouldn't have helped anything. The point is that these grandparents have a big problem, and they think that it's Hakuin's fault, and they think that Hakuin is the solution. So, and I just called the baby a problem, and I regret that. But the point is they're not prepared to take care of it, and they think that Hakuin is the one that is and that should be doing it. And yes, he could flip out and rail against that, but it's not going to help. It's not going to help. So I think he saw the potential and the different options, and he just accepted it because there was nothing else to do. And I think we can't imagine that level of calm for the most part, right? Or just imagine somebody shows up with a baby, and this person that shows up with a baby has already wrecked your reputation, and here you go. So what Hakuin didn't do was go around saying, I didn't do it. He didn't do that. He just let things unfold because he knew that denying it wasn't going to work. And so he was just essentially silent on the matter. He said, is that so? He just asked questions. And I do believe he was unmoved by the way they wrecked his reputation. And I think that's something we can aspire to be, because when we realize reputation is fleeting. Reputation is fleeting. It comes and goes so fast. And I think that the people that really respect you won't be moved by a lie. I think that it's only the people that kind of don't respect you anyway that hear gossip about you and change their opinion of you. That is what I think. So I think that's a thing we can reflect on. I'm sure Hakuin had some friends that believed him, that still showed up. And like I said, he borrowed milk from the neighbor, so the neighbor must have respected him some, right? So I think he did still have some friends, but it's just that for a majority of people, his reputation was ruined. And so we can think about that, and we can try to not worry about people gossiping about us. And that's hard, right? We feel, just like when we're robbed or when someone's attacking us, we feel violated when people gossip about us. But I think we can practice being unmoved by that, because the truth is it doesn't matter. It seems like it matters. There's lots of consequences, but the truth is it doesn't matter. And our life is going to go on, and the world's going to unfold however it's going to unfold. So what I want us to think about learning how to do is say, is that so? Is that so? So that's it for today. That's what I wanted to talk about. So thank you for taking the time to listen to me, and have a good day.